Picture this. A quiet morning in Washington, D.C., where the streets are still sleepy, and the air is crisp with promise. Somewhere in that city, a young man steps out of his car at a McDonald's drive-thru. He's not just any customer. He's Barron Trump, the son of one of the most famous families in the world. But here's the thing. This isn't about fame or fortune. This is about something much simpler, yet far more powerful: kindness. Now, you might be wondering why this moment matters so much. After all, stopping by McDonald's for breakfast seems like an ordinary act. But what happened next? That's where things take a turn no one saw coming. Barron orders his meal, pays for it, and then does something unexpected. As the line behind him stretches back several cars, he decides to pay for everyone else's order too. Just like that, without hesitation, without fanfare, he turns a regular Tuesday into a day filled with warmth and generosity. But wait, there's more. Word spreads quickly, and soon, people start talking. Social media lights up as drivers share their stories of surprise and gratitude. Some say they cried when they realized what had happened. Others felt inspired to do the same for someone else later that day. It wasn't just about free food. It was about connection, humanity, and the ripple effect of doing good. So, let's rewind a bit. How did we even find out about this heartwarming gesture? Well, it all started with a tweet from one of those lucky customers. They couldn't believe what they'd experienced, so they decided to tell the world, and boy did the world listen. You see, Barron Trump isn't your typical teenager. Sure, he has a last name that opens doors, but he also carries the weight of being in the public eye from a young age. For many, fame can feel isolating, like there's always someone watching, judging every move. But for Barron, it seems like he uses his platform differently, not to seek attention, but to quietly make a difference. That morning at McDonald's wasn't planned. There were no cameras rolling, no reporters waiting outside. It was just him, his breakfast, and a decision made in the moment. That's what makes it so special. Acts of kindness don't need an audience to matter. They only need sincerity. Now, let's talk about the people who benefited from Barron's generosity. Imagine sitting in your car, thinking about how you'll tackle the day ahead. Maybe you're running late, stressed about work, or maybe you're just tired. Then comes the announcement. The car ahead of you paid for your meal. Suddenly, everything changes. You smile, your heart lifts, and for a brief moment, life feels lighter, brighter. One woman said she nearly cried when she heard the news. She'd been having a rough week, struggling to pay bills, and this small act reminded her that goodness still exists in the world. Another man decided to pass the favor forward, paying for the person behind him. That's the magic of kindness. It doesn't stop with one person. It spreads like wildfire. But here's the thing. This story isn't just about Barron Trump. It's about all of us. What if we took a page out of his book? What if we looked for ways to brighten someone else's day, even if it's something as simple as buying them a cup of coffee or holding open a door? The impact could be huge. Of course, not everyone reacted positively to Barron's act of kindness. In a world where opinions fly faster than ever, some people couldn't help but question his motives. Was this genuine, or was it just another PR move? Others pointed out that paying for a few meals at McDonald's doesn't solve bigger issues like poverty or inequality. And while those criticisms are valid, they miss the point entirely. Kindness isn't about solving every problem in one fell swoop. It's about planting seeds, small gestures that grow into something larger over time. Think about it. When you witness someone doing something selfless, doesn't it make you want to do the same? That's exactly what happened after Barron's story went viral. People started sharing their own acts of kindness, big and small, inspired by what he did. Meanwhile, back in Washington, D.C., the ripple effect continued. Local businesses reported an uptick in customers paying it forward. Strangers struck up conversations over shared meals. Even kids in schools talked about how one person's actions could change the mood of an entire community, all because of a single moment at a McDonald's drive-thru. But let's zoom out for a second. Why does this matter so much? In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to get caught up in our own lives, forgetting the power of connection. We scroll through social media, comparing ourselves to others, feeling disconnected from the real world. Stories like Barron's remind us that we don't have to wait for grand opportunities to make a difference. Sometimes, the smallest acts can have the biggest impacts. But here's where the story takes a surprising turn. As Barron's act of kindness continued to spread across social media, a new detail emerged, one that no one saw coming. It turns out this wasn't the first time he'd done something like this. In fact, it wasn't even the second or third time. Over the years, Barron had quietly paid for meals, helped strangers in need, and performed countless acts of kindness without ever seeking recognition. How did we find out? A former employee at a local restaurant came forward with a story from years ago. They remembered Barron walking in after school, ordering his usual meal, and then paying for a family struggling to afford theirs. At the time, no one thought much of it. But now, looking back, it became clear. This wasn't just a one-off moment, it was part of who he is. And then there was another revelation. One of Barron's teachers shared a memory from when he was younger. During a class project focused on community service, Barron didn't just meet the requirements. He went above and beyond, organizing food drives and volunteering at shelters. His classmates admired him not because of his last name, but because of his quiet determination to help others. This twist changed the way people viewed Barron Trump. Suddenly, he wasn't just the son of a famous politician. He was someone with a heart full of compassion and a history of making a difference. Critics who once questioned his motives began to reconsider. Fans who already admired him found new reasons to do so. But the biggest surprise came from Barron himself. In a rare interview, he addressed the attention surrounding his McDonald's visit. "I didn't do it for anyone else," he said simply. "I just wanted to make someone's day better." Those words struck a chord with millions. They reminded us that true kindness isn't about recognition, it's about intention. The story didn't stop there. As Barron's acts of kindness gained more attention, something remarkable happened. People started organizing their own pay-it-forward movements. Communities across the country began hosting events inspired by his example. Drive-thrus became hotspots of generosity, with strangers paying for each other's meals in long chains that lasted hours. One particular event stood out. A small town in Ohio decided to turn their local McDonald's into a symbol of unity. For one day, every single customer's meal was covered by someone else. The line stretched for blocks, but instead of frustration, there was laughter, smiles, and conversations between people who would have otherwise never spoken. A mother told reporters she felt like she'd won the lottery when her family's breakfast was unexpectedly paid for. A teenager said it made him believe in humanity again. Meanwhile, Barron stayed out of the spotlight. He watched from afar as his simple act sparked a movement far greater than he ever imagined. But here's the thing, he wasn't done yet. In a quiet gesture, he partnered with a charity to create a fund dedicated to supporting families in need. The initiative wasn't announced with fanfare or press releases. Instead, it quietly began providing meals, school supplies, and resources to communities struggling to make ends meet. As word spread about the fund, donations poured in, not just from wealthy donors, but from everyday people touched by Barron's story. Teachers contributed what they could. Parents set aside spare change. Even kids emptied their piggy banks to help. It became clear that this wasn't just about one person anymore, it was about everyone coming together to make a difference. But the real climax came during a visit to one of the communities benefiting from the fund. Barron showed up unannounced, walking among the people whose lives he had unknowingly changed. He listened to their stories, played games with the kids, and shared meals with families. There were no cameras, no media crews, just genuine human connection. One woman broke down in tears, saying she'd lost hope until she received support from the fund. Another man hugged Barron tightly, thanking him for giving his family a second chance. In the end, Barron Trump's act of kindness at that McDonald's drive-thru became much more than a viral moment. It sparked a chain reaction of generosity, reminding millions around the world of the power of small, selfless acts. The fund he started continues to grow, touching lives in ways no one could have predicted. And though Barron remains humble about his role, the ripple effect of his actions will be felt for years to come. But here's the thing, this isn't the end of the story, it's just the beginning, because every day, all over the world, ordinary people are doing extraordinary things. Maybe you've already been part of something like this without realizing it. Or maybe you're inspired to start your own chain of kindness. Either way, the message is clear. You don't need fame or fortune to make a difference. All it takes is a willingness to care, to act, and to inspire others to do the same. And as for Barron, well, he's still out there, quietly making the world a better place. Who knows what he'll do next? One thing's for sure, when it happens, it'll remind us once again that kindness has no limits. So, what will you do today? Will you pay it forward? Will you share this story and inspire someone else? The choice is yours. But remember, even the smallest act can lead to something incredible. Stay tuned, you won't want to miss what happens next. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.